Okay. Next game was also not well played. So Bassem Amin, I'm going to say something that sounds mean, but it's Amin. As you all know, he's a medical doctor and he's 2,700, like most people. And he just got married like 2 or 3 years ago. His wife might have had a baby, but maybe I'm making that up. Maybe I'm not. So, never know. Bacrot was a grandmaster at 13. He was 2,700 in his early 20s, and he's been 2,700 for 20 years, and he's never gotten like the top 10 in the world. Just sitting there, still sitting there. Maybe he's under 2,700 now. I don't know. But Bacrot's really good. And this position, White has a very easy forced win, pointed out by Naroditsky, and there's only one move that wins, and Bacrot didn't play it. And as they say, Potzer sees a check, Potzer gives a check. And, usually that's like half of a joke, but here it's true. So he checked, and now he's not winning anymore. And the game ended in a draw, which I'll show you. As Naroditsky pointed out, if White trades queens and plays bishop h6, that's it. And he was like, I don't see a move for black. So I tried to see a move for black, and I was like, okay, that loses, that loses, that loses, that loses, that loses. And then I gave up. And then the engine says, you give up. So we're threatening knight f6 check, and then rook takes d6. Pretty simple threat. If the bishop moves so that I can't take it, so bishop b8 or bishop e5, then knight f6 check and rook d8 mate. And if bishop f8, knight f6 check and rook d8 pins the bishop and then mate. So you can't move the bishop. So thanks Linder18 for the 5 subs. Good timing. Hooray. Okay, now the most obvious move to stop knight f6 check is rook e6. That stops knight f6 check. And now you play knight f4. You can't take the knight because rook here is going to be mate. But you don't want the guy to take your rook, and you don't want to move your rook off your bishop. So Danya pointed out this makes the most sense. And then after bishop g5, now there is no move that makes any sense. Like, that's it. So, and White wins. So if he had taken to play bishop e6, h6, he would have won. No doubt about it. And I guess he didn't see takes a bishop h6. I don't know. So he ended up checking, and now he's not winning. King f8 is quadruple question mark because bishop h6 check and the queen's not protected. So he played king g7 is obviously a blunder too because I take with check. But he plays king h8. You can't take the rook because your queen's hanging. And if White takes the queen, then black takes and his rook isn't attacked. So after knight f6, king h8, it's just a draw. That's the best move. Bishop c3 is the best move. And black only has one move that draws here. Now, it's possible, I don't know, I didn't ask him, that Bacrot saw this when he played knight f6 check, and he's like, I'm winning, I'm the best. And then he missed black's next move. If that's the case, maybe he thought this was more easily winning than the other line I showed you that was winning. But it's not winning because black plays bishop e5. Maybe he didn't see that. I don't know. The rook's attacking the bishop. If the bishop moves away, we got discovered checks and taking things. But yeah, this is yeah. Okay. This is also a mistake. I can't believe Bacrot incorrectly went to the back row. Yeah. Now the engine still prefers white if he takes and plays g4. And I guess the main idea is if black saves his bishop, I can cement my knight with like f4, g5. And then if my knight sits here the rest of the game, that could be dangerous for... So the engine says you have to go here. And then I cement my knight anyway. And I'm threatening this. And then king f8. And white's better because the knight is fantastic. The h-pawn's weak. There's some mating tricks. But, it's like plus 0.8. Maybe white's close to winning. Maybe not. But instead he made another mistake. Check. And now white's not better at all. Yeah. And by the way, king f8 looks weird. And king h6 is okay. But king f8's the most accurate. You want to get your king to e7. And he did play king e7. This is actually a nice trick. Rook e4 is also fine. Rook e4 being fine is weird because it looks like this move wins. It checks and attacks the rook. But you go here. And now it looks like this move wins because if he takes, you take a free bishop. But it's not a free bishop because I take the knight. So rook e4 by trickery and deceit actually is fine. But he played king e7, which is also a draw. And then they agreed to a draw because here is a dead draw. So Bacrot went from completely winning to slightly better to dead draw, like pretty quickly. Truth hurts. Now, I said before, and I didn't finish my thought because I'm confused a lot. I said, I don't want to be mean, but I'm going to say something mean about Bassem Amin. And then I didn't say anything mean about him. Bassem Amin is the poster child for beating lower-rated players and losing to higher-rated players. If you're lower rated than Amin, he beats you. If you're higher rated, you beat him. It's very rare that Amin is beating top 10, top 15 in the world. It almost never happens. However, if you're rated 2400 FIDE to 2640 FIDE, then he beats you. So yeah, Bacrot was about the right rating, like sort of on the cusp of beating him and drawing. So he was beating him and then he drew. So that's fair. Yeah. He doesn't do really well against the super top GMs because he's a doctor, so he's busy. I was busy. Isn't that how it's supposed to be? No, sometimes when you're rated like 2700 FIDE, you beat people in the top 10 occasionally, and you lose to low-rated players occasionally. He's very occasionally. He looks at his rating and he's like, okay, this is how I'm going to do. He looks at the opponent's rating. Yeah, I'm losing to that guy. Oh, I'm beating that guy. So, yeah, the truth hurts. Probably, if I was a betting man, I would say, and I don't really know, but I'm guessing he's not the world's best opening player because he's a doctor. So he can't spend 10 hours a day studying the opening. And so against low-rated players, it doesn't matter. He just plays better than them. But against higher-rated players, he's not getting opening advantages with white. He's getting worse positions with black. So he's giving an advantage to somebody like Fabiano Caruana, who studies chess all day and gets opening advantages. Steve Condi subscribed. Yeah.